It's a gnarly tree. An Osage orange, apparently. I guess it must have been there for years. This wasn't always a public park. It used to be, I think it was just a farm. But that tree wasn't planted recently. It must be there for 70, 80 years. So I'm guessing this is all just cows or cornfields or whatever. That was the one old tree. It's probably a forgotten cemetery around it. The old gravestones rotted away, and who knows. Anyway, I don't even know if I'm going to upload this. I'm just going for a little walk. I felt compelled to do something. It's a bit chilly for late April here in Jersey. It's not usually this chilly, but every year is different. It's cooler than I'd like it to be. I'm waiting for the weather to warm up just a bit, but what's going on that I want to ramble about? Well, I've got a meeting next week. See, I know I probably have to go back to work soon. And I understand my brother gave me some pride. You get a job. Even he's getting into the whole... I think he's maybe a little upset with me needing, or he just thinks we need to get on with it. But I had mentioned in previous videos that I had applied for some sort of... I just went on the internet. Maybe I should do a video about that. I might do that next. When I'm back at home, I'll do it. I'll show you the computer. The difference between me and others is, instead of talking about, wow, you can get neat bucks, you should do it. Thank you for that. But how do you actually go about doing it? It's all guesswork. It's all trial and error. There are no classes for this. No one teaches you shit. So all I can do is tell you guys, or anyone listening, or even for my own records, what I've done thus far. And I've mentioned my temporary disability, which was a pain in the ass. I can go on and on about that, how it works in this state with, private plans and blah, blah, blah. But that came through. So this injury that I had on Christmas Day, my Christmas Day injury, when I tore my inferior epigastric artery, was actually a blessing in disguise. Or I guess I should take whatever positive I can from it. So now, because of this injury, I was able to get the TDI, and I had to fight for it. It was a job. I had to apply through the state. I had to wait. After 6 or 7 weeks, the state said, "Oh, sorry, we can't handle it. We're sending it to this private, because one of your employers had a private company or a private plan, the Hartford Group, blah blah blah." So that eventually worked out, but it took months, from December through, was it March, early April? I think it was April. I think it was this month. Whenever they finally paid out. And well, at least it worked out. So I got that. But again, it's short term. I get a lot of short term neat bucks. But it's a step. It's a process in the direction thereof. And I've also mentioned, I got some little check from some lawsuit I know nothing about. That was more symbolic. A little $100 check due to some lawsuit over lost wages at some grocery store, which I think the particular grocery store is a franchise. One franchise fucked up, so all the workers at any given franchise gets a little pittance from it. So, if I understand correctly, it's not anything major, but okay, $100 symbolic, okay. And I've told you, anyone who's paid attention, I got the busted finger. My ring finger on my right hand will never curl again. I'll never be able to make a proper fist. It'll never curl. If you look at my left hand, typical, they all bend, they all curl. I just can't bend it. I go to bend, and this ring finger just can't curl anymore. It'll never curl again. Because of an injury at a department store in the back with a truck door that, unlike most truck doors, which is rusty and a bitch, you gotta fight with them to open up a truck door, the back of a tractor trailer. This one was brand new, like a mousetrap. Because the manager bitch was rushing me out that night. That was July 3rd of 22. So, but maybe I'll get something out of that. I gotta remember to call that asshole, that lawyer who's supposed to be on my side. Maybe I'll get something out of that. But again, while it'd be nice, it would just be a pittance. It's nothing, nothing long-term, nothing... Still wonder what the name of these plants are. These fern-like elephant plants. But I get redundant, but it's good to make a list, a compendium. I'm autistic. I'm autistic, and it's just how I operate, apparently. But anyway, I applied recently for SNAP, EBT food stamps. And what that is, food stamps, if you don't make enough money, it's some sort of quasi-federal quasi-state program. I think it's the federal level, but the state's actually just kind of like Medicaid. It is federal, but the states themselves handle the processing and the dispersion of funds. And in the state of New Jersey, they call it SNAP, which is, what was it called? Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. I think that's what it is. And I always, people online have talked about EBT, my EBT card, EBT. I never knew what EBT meant, but I got something. I applied last week. I applied last week. I figured it doesn't hurt. Let me apply. And they said, okay, based upon what you told us, you might be eligible for both SNAP, which is food stamps, and something called general assistance. And again, I have a great excuse. Instead of saying, hey, I'm just some bum lying around, you tell them, listen, I injured myself. I had an injury. I tore an artery. I couldn't work. I'd like to go back to work, but I need general assistance. So they sent me something in the mail. They sent me a card, like a debit credit card thing. And it's called an EBT card, Electronic Balance Transfer. I think that's what it stands for. And somehow, apparently, the EBT card it's somehow, I haven't used it yet because I haven't actually been approved yet. They're sending it to me in advance. They said, okay, you're still under review. You're still in the review process. We got your application. We're going to send you this EBT card because we think you might be a candidate. We're not sure yet. If you were not a candidate, you wouldn't be receiving this. The fact that you're receiving this is a good sign because it means you're a contender, but you don't have it yet. So I said, okay, fine. I'm looking at this card. And I activated it, created a PIN. And if I understand correctly, the card actually has two separate accounts. One for the food stamps, or SNAP, and one for the general assistance. Now, I haven't been approved for either, but if you're approved for one or both of the other, it's all the same card. The EBT card handles both, the food stamps and these other things. So I guess EBT is almost like an umbrella term or a collectionary, if that's a word, a collectionary term. And most people with EBT cards use them for food stamps, I'd imagine. But EBT, so food stamps, SNAP, is paid with an EBT card. But EBT isn't specifically food stamps. It could be other things as well. So I guess EBT is a more general umbrella, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me think here. Over-encompassing program. And I would imagine that food stamps / SNAP is probably the most frequently used EBT program, but EBT covers multiple things, such as, in this case, food stamps as well, or SNAP, as well as general assistance. And that's why I didn't want to get a job. I stopped into this one grocery store, this one supermarket that I've never worked before, because I've already alienated and burned bridges at every other fucking local grocery store within a 15-mile square radius. Not square radius, 15-mile radius. Sort of babbling, but who cares? Just babble, fuck it. No, I've already alienated and burned bridges everywhere else. But I went in, and I guess they must be desperate because this one assistant manager's like, I guess what he liked about me, I told him, I said, listen, I injured myself, I was out of work. I left my other jobs on good terms. I couldn't work, but I want to get back to work. I'm thinking about easing into it. And he said, yeah, I like your energy, man. And what that means is I could be a total fuck up. They don't know. But he realizes I won't have to train you. You come with pre-training. Not that any of this is rocket science, because it's not. But I was telling him, okay, so you got what? Couple dead or dark nights. In the most supermarkets, if you ever worked in a supermarket, 7 days a week, most supermarkets, if they're, average, will get 5 deliveries per week. There's usually 2 days where they don't get a delivery. And it can vary store to store. I guess if a store is very slow, it might only get 3 or 4 deliveries. If it's very busy, it might get 6, maybe even 7. But your average run-of-the-mill grocery store is getting 5 grocery deliveries per week. And they're usually 2 days where you don't get a truck, you don't get a delivery. And they usually call them dark nights or dead nights or backstock nights. And on those nights, you don't have to unload a truck. You don't have to break down a pallet. All you got to do is, make the store look pretty, which is actually more tedious. That we're going to rotate things, stuff in the back that might be older needs to come to the front, so people buy the older stuff before they buy the newer stuff. It's called rotating, etc., etc. But anyway, point is, I said to them, okay, so what are your two non-delivery nights, your 2 non-load nights? And the fact that I knew Grocery 101, the guy seemed like, okay, cool, you seem like you know what you're doing. So he basically said, go home. apply on the computer because I need you officially in the system. Here's a whole packet worth of shit. Fill these forms out, come back. I said, okay. So I could probably get the job there if I wanted. But that was a few days ago. And I've dragged my feet thus far because shortly after I did that, went to this grocery store, that's when I got the thing in the mail from the county board. Here in New Jersey, each county has a board of social services, and they're the ones who handle these programs. If you know anything about what I'm going through with my father, it was this same county board of social services that totally screwed me over with the whole MLTSS ABD thing for Medicaid with him. So this county board and I are not in the best of terms. And in the county I live in, there are actually several offices. There's the main office, which is in the county seat. For those outside of the United States, vast majority of states are subdivided into counties. One town or area of settlement acts as what's known as the county seat. S-E-A-T. A county seat is where all the county courthouse is located, all the county services. It's basically the capital of the county. So there's the Board of Social Services, their main office is in the county seat. But they also have a couple of field offices. Field offices are like, lesser offices in other parts of the county. And apparently the EBT, the whole food stamps or SNAP / back to work program, etc., are handled by this field office, not by the main office in the county seat. Which is actually good because maybe these people won't know me as well. It'll be like almost like a different environment. Anyway, I applied online a week or so ago. Then I went to the supermarket. Then I got this shit in the mail from the county saying, we think you're a candidate, but we need more information. Here's an EBT card, which you can't use yet, but we think you might be a contender. So then I had to do a phone interview with people from this County Board of Social Services field office. And the first lady, I think it was Valerie. Was it Monica? I don't remember. I can't remember what the fuck her name was. I was half asleep trying to take notes because it was an early morning call. I'm like, But she was saying, hi, I'm the, there's a name for it. I'll make sure I get it right, but it's good to ramble sometimes. It's good to just stop and think. She said she was the, income maintenance. I think that's what she said she was. Income maintenance. She makes sure that everybody who applies is eligible or is at least a contender, that sort of thing. And she said, well, we're probably going to need some documents from you. Like, she was saying different things like a birth certificate, a driver's license. She was saying how food stamps requires a driver's license, but the general assistance, emergency money, that also requires a birth certificate. So I thought, even though I'm half asleep, I thought, whoa, because you know how these bureaucracies are. I said, whoa, do you want me to make 2 separate copies then? Like, if food stamps needs a license and the other place needs a license and a birth certificate, can I submit 1 copy of my license, or should I make 2 packets? Here's a copy of my driver's license specifically for food stamps. Here's another copy specifically for the separate emergency general assistance program. And she seemed unsure. She said, well, no, I think just 1 copy should be fine, as long as you have it in our files, blah, 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 blah. And then she said, the next step is you're going to have to talk to a social worker. I wonder why this car is going so slowly. You want to look at me? Hi. Anyway, the next step is you're going to have to speak with a social worker. I don't know when, but they'll contact you by phone, maybe in a few days, maybe next week. I said, fine. And then she was nice. She said, because I love doing things at a distance. I love doing things on the internet, the computer. I hate to show my face. I hate to show up in person because I feel I'm going to be judged and it'll actually work against me. It's better I'm just a voice to you than someone you actually see in person, seeing my face, seeing my autistic, spurgy mannerisms. And this lady said, yeah, you should be able to just do it. We can send to you by mail. If that takes long, we can email. I said, great. Anyway, so I thought, okay, hung up with her. And I thought, all right, maybe by the end of the week or sometime next week, I'll hear from the social worker. Now, as a few hours later, the phone rang, and it was the social worker. And she acted nice. She wasn't overly hostile or anything, but she seemed to be pushing for me to come in. She goes, listen, I got to see you in person. You got to come in for an interview. I said, well, the other lady told me that, you can just do all this online, or you can email. Oh, no, you got to come in because you got to sign some forms and stuff. I think to myself, I smelled bullshit, but I am kind of at their mercy. So I said, okay, there's a deer running by. I said, okay. I gotta figure out which way I feel like going. I'm not sure right now. I'm gonna go straight, don't want to turn around, and go that way. Of course, there's just one car. One car in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, getting back to it, what was I saying? So it seemed like one of these things where I would have loved if they just sent, here's what you need to send us. You can email the copies. I can look over the documents. You can do an electronic signature, or sign and sign, scan, and send me a PDF. I think they can do that, but this woman wants to see me, so I haven't shaved my beard in a long time, and my hair's getting shaggy. And people might say, "Cut your hair, you hippie! Can't get a job looking like that." In this case, it's the opposite. I was thinking about cutting my hair and shaving, but I'm gonna hold off because I gotta go see this bitch on Monday. I want to look like a bum. I want to look like a derelict. I want to look like someone who's screwed up and needs these programs, these monies. I want to look like that. So, and it's at 9 a.m. It's like, oh God. Yeah, I'm getting kind of lazy, sleeping in a bit. 9 a.m. I'm either asleep or drunk and ready to go to sleep. But I got to somehow make this work. But it actually kind of works out because that's on Monday. And on Tuesday, unrelated, I've noticed with these videos, there's a lot of heavy breathing, and it's not just that I'm out of shape, even though I am. I've noticed some people, they call it mouth breathers, breathing completely through your mouth. Most people apparently breathe in through their nose. What I think I'm doing and have been doing is I breathe in through my mouth and out through my nose. I definitely breathe out through my nose because when I vape, well, the vape comes right up my nose. And I wonder, do I have some kind of deviated septum, some kind of problem? Could I be breathing better? Is the time to get surgery now if I need surgery done? So I called an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they have an opening. I think it's also at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. So I got to adjust my pattern this week. Monday, I got to be at a field office to have an interview for food stamps and general assistance. And Tuesday, got to go to the ENT to have, I forget what the term is, I wrote it down. When you have a deviated septum, I forget what they call it. It's the procedure. Hello.
Hey, hello.
He was nice. They have a procedure. I guess he just thinks I'm talking to someone on my phone. There's a procedure, it's not a rhinoplasty, septa something or other. If someone knows, they can put it in the comments if anyone's watching this. I wrote it down, but I'm walking out. It's the procedure to correct potential deviated septum, but I don't know. I gotta do some more research. Is it worth it? I've heard there can be problems with these surgeries. They go wrong. People regret them. But I've never really been able to breathe very freely through my nose. I breathe out. I can do half the battle, but I breathe out heavily. And I hear it. These videos, if something's come out from making these videos, because I'm not aware of it in day-to-day life. I don't really hear it when I'm just walking around or talking to someone, but I hear it when I play back these videos. I hear not just the heavy breathing, but specifically breathing out through my nose, which makes me think I'm breathing in through my mouth, and I wonder if there's something that can be done about it. But anyway, the point is, there was that whole point to this ramble. Applied for these benefits. Then, kind of guilted by my brother, went to that grocery store, and it was actually very positive. The guy seemed like, yeah, I can hire you if you want. Fuck it. But then, now I've kind of blown off the grocery store, which I don't like to do. I told the guy to get the paperwork back to him. Again, that's another good thing. He gave me the paperwork. I have to fill it out in the office. I could take it home. I could scan it. I can look it over at my leisure. That was very nice. He said, here, since you didn't apply, usually you'd apply, we'd call you in, you'd fill this shit out here. Just give it to you now. It's almost like he's trying to rush it through. Just, it'll be, do it on your own time, bring it back. So I don't want to blow the guy off. But I don't want to go back to work just yet. If I want to go to this meeting first, go to this meeting on Monday. Because they might say to me, I can see it being one of these things. Like I told you, I get neat bucks, but it's all like temporary, short-term neat bucks. They might say, okay, you don't have a job, and if you want these benefits, there's some kind of, what was it called? WFNJ, Work First New Jersey. They want to put you back to work, which will probably just be a shit job. But if I already come in and say, hi, I have a shit job, they might say, well, if you're employed already, what are you doing here? I got to go in unemployed, say, hi, I haven't found a job yet. And they can say, okay, we'll give you some monies, and you actively look for a job. And if that's the case, then I could ask them, well, do I still get monies if I get a job? I got to go, and then I went prematurely to the supermarket. But I didn't know at the time. I didn't know how this is going to work when I applied for those benefits. So yeah, I really didn't know. So I don't want to brush off the grocery store, even though I don't really feel excited about going back to work. But I told, I've mentioned before, I wouldn't be opposed if I got. So we've talked about federal and state. Social Security disability is purely federal. If you get SSI, which is the supplemental security income, whatever the hell it is, that's the lesser one. The rate the federal government pays you may vary based upon which state you're in. They might say, okay, you're in New Jersey, which is a higher cost of living than someone in Alabama. So they may use the state you live in as, a guideline for how much they pay you. But ultimately, it's purely federal. The states have nothing to do with Social Security. It's 100% federal government. Things like Medicaid, food stamps, etc., are quasi-federal. They're federally funded, but they're delegated by the states. So I'm at the mercy of this state, and I don't know how it works in New Jersey with, all these different things. And again, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere, and we got just a few just meaningless cars slowly meandering by, having to, get in my way right when I don't cross. If, 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes later, there'd be no one here. It's just that car has to come just as I want to cross the fucking street here. But that's typical. I wonder not many people watch these videos, and those that do they actually watch, or they just simply listen to the audio? So it's not even worth showing, the car that had to come up out of nowhere. Now see how quiet and peaceful it is now? If you actually are watching, there's nothing, no one around now. This is how it is most of the time, except when I get to that crosswalk, and all of a sudden, hey, look out. All right. So yeah, anyway, I'm at the mercy of the state. It's actually, and of course, this state uses counties and their boards of social services. So I'm at the mercy of these workers. Whereas when it's Social Security, you're directly dealing with federal agents. I'm not saying that's better or worse, but it's different. At least what I'm getting at is okay. So let me give you an example of something that's state only. You have a driver's license. In the United States, in order to drive a car, you have to have a driver's license. Driver's licenses are issued by the state. Now, states will recognize other states' licenses, but there's no such thing as a federal driver's license. When you get a driver's license, you go by the state you are a resident of. So, and again, we can have horror stories about the Department of Motor Vehicles, or the Motor Vehicle Commission, as they now call it, DMV, MVC. But the point is, it's all state. It's a totally state agency, nothing to do with the federal government. And Social Security is totally federal, nothing to do with the state government. In other words, less hands in the pot. Less hands in the pot is what I'm saying. I don't like dealing with multiple layers of bureaucracy. Food stamps is a federal program, but the states have the power and control to approve and deny and divvy it out. And the state itself gives the county that job to do. So I got a federal program being run by the state and being decided upon by the county. So it's Jesus Christ, how many more layers of bureaucracy do we need? But that's how it is. So unlike Social Security, which is directly federal, or a driver's license, which is directly state, this is everyone's got a hand in the cookie jar. So we'll see how it goes. And like I said, I don't know why this lady, the social worker, was so, because the first lady was like, yeah, you could probably do it online. I don't see why not. It's almost like, that's how it should be, a formality. If you provide the proper legal documentation, you're good to go. Instead, they want me to, because I thought, you want me to sign in person? Is that what this is about, signing in person? That's the only thing I can think of. But it didn't even seem like that was the reason. It seemed like this lady, look at all this debris just caught under the bridge here. If you're actually watching this, there's a whole slew of muck. A slew of muck under this old bridge. I forgot to tell my shrink. I should have told him. I said, tell him, I took your advice, man. I went for a walk. I forgot to tell him that. Anyway, more deer jumping. I guess there's less hunting because these deer seem a lot less timid. Alright, where was I going in here? There's a little dam here, a little old mill. Anyway, sun is. This video is interesting because the sun is setting. For those who actually watch, I don't think I've done one of these dusk videos, but I'm rambling about what? Yeah, so now I feel bad because I went to that grocery store. I can't remember. See, every day bleeds into another day, bleeds into another day. I forget what day it was. It was earlier this week, and then And then I got the thing from the county. Then I had the interviews with said county. And then I have to go in person next week. So, yes, run me down, mofo. So anyway, oh, strange amount of traffic on this road. So anyway, when I get back, I'll probably do a little video just for my own records as to what came up, because I remember applying online. My goal was food stamps. It was a 4-in-1, and I was eligible for 2. The food stamps being 1, and this work assistance. But see, I don't even know what it entails. You look online, it doesn't really tell you a whole lot. So I could ask these questions in person. If I have to go to this interview, I'm gonna have to ask them. I have to say, well, listen, if I get approved, how's it work? If I get a job, how's it work? There was something in all the literature they sent me that said, if there's a change in anything, your address, your income, your job, etc., you must notify us immediately. So I'm gonna ask them, well, how's it work? What if I get a raise? What if I get a different job? What if I lose my job? I get some shit job, you approve me for food stamps, and then I get fired. You'll get some more food stamps monies. But I think they said you might be eligible for half a month's worth of food stamps on an emergency basis. Like some of these, I want to be one of these people who gets food stamps continuously, month after month after month. I remember one of my heroes saying, yeah, I got so much food stamps monies, I don't even need it all. I don't even use it all. But I think it said I might be eligible right now for, based upon, because I'm still under the review process. This interview is part of the review. $155. So if that's half a month's worth, if we multiply it by 2, so 1, 2, 50, 50 is 300, 10, 310. So I guess 310 a month, which seems like a decent thing for one person. That's fine. That's great. And I won't have to worry. It's one less thing to worry about. Because my life has been hell. Like, I didn't choose. No one wants, at least I didn't want this. But I have to accept the reality of what a disaster. All the social problems I've had in these jobs, how it should just be a job turns into a social nightmare. People have done some very, very bad things to me. And there's no guarantee you get a job is going to turn into another nightmare. I'm not going to be worrying about getting fired or destroyed or run over or strangled again. I don't know. And no one seems to give a shit. So it's for my protection, like I tell the shrink, a safety net. I can work on improving myself. It's not mutually exclusive, whether I have a safety net or not. You make it sound like, you're throwing in the towel. No, it's a security blanket, a safety net, just something to have. And I can still try to work to better myself. So I'm happy about making some progress. And I'm trying to share, and maybe one of these days things work out. I can do a better video where I sit down, tell things more calmly, more directly, instead of all babbly. But no one really told me how to do much of anything. A lot of it is guesswork. So on my own, you hear things like, oh, people will say, there are all these social programs out there, all these services. Or you hear people even complain, oh my God, all these people living off the government dole. People are always talking about these things, whether it's, wow, you should sign up for this, or all these leeches taking my monies. But the truth is, even though they talk about it in a general sense, they actually know nothing about it. When you say, what programs? Where do you sign up? What do you do? Oh, I don't know. It's just stuff I've heard about. It's like they don't actually tell you. So here's what I can tell you. If you have a legitimate injury in the state of New Jersey, and it's not a workplace injury, this is not workman's compensation, it's a injury that prevents you from working, you immediately apply as soon as you can with what's called New Jersey Temporary Disability Insurance, which is part of Department of Labor, New Jersey Department of Labor. And if you do that, here's what you have to expect. A good 6 or 7 weeks before they get back to you, you can call them, because you probably apply online like I did, take down your information, make sure you keep your case number and whatnot. You can call them just to see if your case has been received, but they could expect a good 6 or 7 weeks. And then, depending on what your job is and how many you have and what your situation is, maybe you call your employer and ask, do we have a temporary disability private plan? Because if we do, the state of New Jersey is not going to do shit. And like even in my case, the furniture store, that was a secondary job. I didn't work there on a regular basis. I would work at the supermarket 5-6 days a week. And I would go over for a few hours, 4 or 5 hours, build some furniture, move some furniture, put some lamps together, like shop class. I would do that, but on an as-needed basis. So even when I did get injured, the furniture store was surprised. I said, listen, do we use something called the Hartford plan? Because the state of New Jersey told me Hartford plan. And she said, yeah, the one manager girl, yeah, but you're a part-timer. I thought that was for full-timers. Managers themselves don't know. Apparently, what I've learned is that because the furniture store maybe I'm out of breath. I should exercise and walk more. Because the furniture store uses the Hartford plan, that's for all employees, regardless of status. Managers themselves might not know that. So don't ask your manager what your status is. Simply say, hey, manager, does our company have a private insurance payment company that it uses? If your manager says, oh, why does that apply to you? You're not full-time. Ignore it. Just say yes or no. And then expect, if you're in New Jersey, that the state will say, you need to go with your private plan. And the private plan is somehow supposed to factor in every job you may or may not have had. So if you have 2 jobs and one has a private plan, one doesn't matter. As long as one has it, that private plan is now responsible for paying you for everything, even the job that they have nothing to do with. That's how it is here. So I've learned that, and no one told me that, but I've learned that. Okay, what else? If you injure yourself on the job like I did, I didn't get any workman's compensation monies this time. I think what happened, I went to this was a couple years ago. This was a department store. I did tell the manager, I said, listen, I bashed my finger up. I didn't tell the manager that was there that night. I went in the morning, I saw a different manager, and I said, listen, I bashed my finger up, because I didn't want anyone to be biased. The other manager's like, okay, well, there's a thing you can fill out on the computer here. Logged me in, and I filled it out. And that's when they sent me to their doctors and shit. And their doctors, their clinic, their injury doctors were like, well, it's not too badly damaged that you need to miss work. The next thing you do is try to contact a lawyer. Go online. Look for a lawyer that practices in your state. In my case, it's New Jersey, whichever state you're in. If you're in any different countries, I can't help you. But in the USA, it doesn't matter which state you're in. Just find a lawyer, a workman's comp lawyer who practices in your state. And make sure, for some of you, this might be common knowledge. For others, they might not know. Make sure that the lawyer works on contingency. Contingency. The magic word is contingency. Contingency means the lawyer doesn't charge you. If you win and you get some monies, the lawyer takes a cut. I think it's like 20%. But the lawyer is somewhat gambling because the lawyer has no way of knowing if he's going to get paid or not. You can find any lawyer who said, sure, I'll take your case. Pay me XYZ. Pay me all this shit and maybe we'll win, maybe we won't. There are many lawyers who will gladly take your money with no guarantee of winning. With contingency, even though the lawyer gets a cut, that's only if you win. If you lose, you walk away. Who cares? You no skin off your back. The lawyer is taking a gamble. I guess it's kind of like how, Hollywood, one of these film industries, they make X amount of movies per year. And some movies they bomb. They suck. It cost however many millions to make it. It only brought in like a quarter of that at the box office. It sucks. But then you have that one movie that, is made on a budget of whatever it is, $10 million, and somehow it brought in, $50 million. It was a big hit. Or other, so you've got, when you make these movies, some movies cost a lot of money and you lose on them. Others make up, so the movies that make a lot of money, not only do they get you a profit, they compensate for the movies that sucked. So it's like, okay, some of these movies are going to suck. Some are going to make lots of money. So as long as at the end of the day, when the dust settles, you make enough. Same with these contingency lawyers. They take cases based upon a belief that they can win. There's no guarantee, but they believe they can win. They'll say, yes, you have a case here. And I guess if we take 10 cases and 8 of them win, we get our monies for those 8 cases, and those two cases that we didn't win, well, we got to cut our losses, but we have more wins than losses, so we can afford, just like the movie company can afford a few shitty movies that actually lose money because the other movies overcompensate. So you're getting your money back from the success of the other movies. Same thing. Lawyers take these cases on a belief they could win. If they don't think you have a case, they're not going to take it. With contingency, they'll tell you there's no guarantee, but I think you have a case, and even if I lose this one, well, fuck it. I have, a dozen other cases which will probably win, so that'll more than compensate. It's a gamble. But anyway, get a contingency lawyer, workman's comp lawyer who works on contingency. And I got to talk with him some more because he was saying how he's going to try to ask for $7,500. I wonder, why not ask for a solid 10? But realistically, I'm probably not going to get that. It's going to be like a bartering, a back and forth. He's going to ask, my lawyer's going to ask them, this workman's comp. I'm not sure if it's actually illegal. I'm not sure if they're lawyers or if it's, see, my guy is my workman's comp lawyer. That's my guy. The department stores people are claims adjusters. It's a claims adjustment firm. And of course, they don't want to pay out. And I don't know if I mentioned this. My lawyer said to me, yeah, some claims adjusters just want to get this over with. They'll say, fine, guy's been injured. You name a price, I'll name a price. We'll barter back and forth. You want $7,500. We're willing to give you $2,000. We'll meet in the middle somewhere. Fine. We'll give him $3,000 or $4,000 or something. Fine. And then, of course, the lawyer takes his cut. Someone get a few grand out of it. Fine. Better than nothing. But he did warn me. Some claims adjusters are real hard asses. They think they're gonna, save the company money, or maybe they feel their job is on the line and they got to show that they're taking their job seriously. So they might try to fight it. There's no way to know. And he even told me, I don't know. I said to him, on average, a case like this, what do you think? Oh, no way to quantify it. Even if I give you the results of every hand injury that I've ever done, no, every case is different. So I'm like, fine. I got to call his ass back because it's been, almost a month since that goddamn... I went to a doctor, and this was their doctor. This was the department store / claims adjustment doctor. But he said he would send a report to my lawyer. It might take a while. And then my lawyer's supposed to get back to me, but it's been almost a month, so it's time for me to get back to him. But anyway, the point is, so if you're in New Jersey or any other state, apply for temporary disability insurance. Now, I understand not all states, because I'm all over the place here. If you're injured yourself and it's not work-related, see if your state has temporary disability insurance. I don't think all states do. I think there's some states that don't offer it. I'm not sure how it works. And if you do, see if the state's going to handle it or if your state plays the whole private plan game. Well, an employer had a private plan, so they're going to do it. If you injure yourself on the job, try to apply for workman's compensation. But if you get denied, if your company's doctors say he's fine to work and they don't want to give you workman's compensation, then you get a lawyer. Who works on contingency, and go through those motions there. All right, so what else? Oh yes, SNAP. Food stamps. EBT. Again, I'd imagine other states have similar setups, but I'm getting a phone call from someone. Let's see what happens.